Taren Trainiacs. She is cold out there. You all want to see a good kit? Check out this kit. Oh yeah, that's a good looking fella there. Ooh. That's Dia, the founder of Ventum. Story time. Dear Taren, a couple of years ago you wrote us a handwritten note and I figured I would return the favor. It's been years since I wrote a letter by hand, I think. I know we don't see much of each other and I suspect you miss me as much as I miss you. I do. I was trying to figure out how we can see more of each other and I came up with this. Know that I will be on every ride with you every time that trainer session gets tough. Just look up at the mirror and you'll see me smiling right back at you. With lots of love, Dia. Damn good looking kit on a good looking guy. Just a bunch of good looking guys walking around. I like it. Unfortunately, it's a little bit big, which leads us into today's edition of Thoughts from the Bike. One of the ways that I maintain this girlish figure that you see every day is with fasted workouts. It's a huge thing that people are talking about these days. So today we're going to talk about how to properly, without the risks of fasting, include fasted workouts into your training routine. Try to contain yourself, folks. So while in Lanzarote on a long bike ride before they dropped me like a bad habit, I was talking to Patrick Lange and he said that it's incredibly important to get off the sugar. And in his case, what he recommended was having a nice big breakfast and then waiting until 3 hours into your rides before taking on anything but water. Plews, the amateur age group champion in Kona who broke the course record for age groupers, he is a sports scientist and he says that it's basically impossible to deny that being able to improve your fat oxidation does not result in improved performance. Is this the case? Well, there's actually a study that I found when I started looking into this that said as much as half of the variation in the difference in performance in an Ironman distance race was attributed to the ability to utilize fat as fuel. How do you end up improving that? Well, there's a lot of ways, and one of those ways is with fasted workouts. But it does not come without challenges and risks. So a few things to note if you start embarking upon a low carb, high fat, fasted workout, basically just trying to oxidize fat more as fuel as opposed to carbohydrates. This is what I'm going to be testing to try to prepare for Challenge Roth. This is what I'm researching a lot. This is probably what I'm going to be talking about a lot as I start writing more blog posts on triathlontaren.com. One of the first things to know is that fasted workouts does not necessarily correlate with weight loss. In addition to that, long periods of fasting, we're talking 14 hours or more, isn't necessarily the safest thing to do. Intermittent fasting, basically having a feeding window of only about 8 to 12 hours during the day, very, very beneficial. Any longer than that, and you risk serious health consequences. So if you want to go down this fasting plan, as I am trying to do in preparation for Challenge Roth, there are a few important things to note. Number one is if you are doing this specifically for weight loss, you might be a little bit disappointed. Studies have shown that fasted workouts and fasting in general might not necessarily actually lead to weight loss. Calorie restriction sure does, but that comes with a whole host of problems, especially when you are doing lots of exercise, as all of us triathletes are. It's a tough thing for us to do. So there are some very critical things to keep in mind. First off, if you're a woman, fasted workouts, fasting in general, has a very large risk for your hormonal system. From the research I've done, I do not recommend very serious fasting protocols for females. Second, if you have blood sugar issues, which somewhere around 40% of the population does, extended fasts longer than 14 hours have been found to have significant health risks. Now you can get a lot of the benefits of fasting itself with about a 12 to 14 hour fast, which is really just a shortened eating window. So anything longer than that has a lot of risks to it, and I don't recommend that. Next, if you don't do this correctly, there's potential that doing these fasted workouts and fasting can actually lead to long-term weight gain. You take it too severely, if you push the workouts too hard, you can end up super compensating by eating more when you finish a workout or when you stop the fast long term. So it's got to be done in moderation. Also, this relates to the next question. This does not mean keto diets. Keto is also related with adrenal and hormone issues, especially in really serious extended exercisers. All of us are. But you can get a lot of these benefits without going into ketosis and being that full, like, fat adapted keto monster. Pro triathlete Mel Hothschild last year in 2018 won half Ironman Galveston without any carbs, any food whatsoever, because it was so cold that she couldn't actually get to her bottle. But she had eaten low carb leading into it, and specifically said in the podcast with us that she doesn't think it's necessary to go into ketosis. So if you can get that benefit without the risks of a full keto diet, do that. So how do you actually do this? I've got some guidelines. Number one, as I mentioned, do not extended fast. You can get a lot of the fasting benefits from shortening the amount of time that you eat in a day to 12 to 8 hours. That is a feeding window, not extended fasting. That's intermittent fasting, where you'll get a lot of the benefits of autophagy. That's your body basically just flushing out a lot of the dead cells that could become cancerous and detrimental to your health. Next, fasted workouts is a sometimes thing. It's not for every single workout, and specifically, it's not for more intense workouts. Doing a fasted workout should be done on days that are recovery days, very, very light training days. This is a light recovery swim, a light recovery bike, a walk first thing in the morning. If you start going and doing a fasted workout, crushing a 45-minute super high intensity workout, you aren't necessarily going to have the fuel to do that workout extremely well, and you're going to be messing around with your hormones. Next thing is to ease into it. When Patrick Lange told me about not eating for 3 hours into his workouts, he said, you should do that. And I was like, how long have you been doing that, Patrick? And he was like, all my life. I'm like, okay, so you've had 20 years to adapt to this. That's often how long it takes, is years and years to get used to this. So don't go out and just say, just because Patrick Lange doesn't eat for 3 hours, you don't eat for 3 hours. What you can do is those easy workouts that I talked about, and doing your longer, slow distance rides like I'm doing today. Start with maybe the first hour being fasted, and then have some food, and then extend that to maybe 65 minutes, 70 minutes. Build into it. Don't just start from nothing and expect your body to perform well. You gotta think that your body has been surviving off of carbs and teaching itself to fuel for decades in that way, so it's not going to take days to undo that and train your body to use another fuel source. And then practically speaking, what else can you do? Well, have a coffee before the workout. The coffee will give you a little bit of energy. It'll also stimulate a little bit of thermogenesis, a little bit of fat burning. Make sure that you increase the amount of electrolytes that you have throughout the day. When you start bringing your carbs lower, your kidneys start excreting a fair bit of sodium, so you've got to make up for that. If you end up doing that lighter, less intense recovery workout fasted, pair that with cold exposure immediately after, like a cold shower or a cold plunge. This has been proven to shed fat at a rapid rate. And this is the important thing, if you have come into a workout fasted, eat after the workout. Don't deprive your body for hours and hours on end. Top up your glycogen stores with lots of carbs, fair bit of protein in that 4-to-1 carb to protein ratio, and then around 90 minutes after that immediate post-workout shake in the 4-to-1 carb to protein ratio, have a nice big meal, lots of fats, lots of protein, lots of carbs. And the final thing is stay tuned to triathlontaren.com, because I'm gonna start putting in more efforts to writing longer, more well-researched blog posts with the links to the studies that I find, because you don't want to see a bunch of citations in these YouTube videos. You don't want a full textbook manual of how to do things like this, but in a blog post form, makes a lot of sense. Also, from my standpoint, improves our SEO. So I'm gonna start working on that a lot more. Now, I have a 3-hour ride followed by a 15-minute run. I'm gonna look good doing it. Boy, whoa. Oh, so that was 3 hours on the treadmill. No. 3 hours on Zwift. The first 2 hours being fairly easy, a lot of nasal breathing, time in the aero bars, last hour, 4 sections of 15 minutes each, going 4 minutes easy, 11 minutes above race pace, and then 15 minutes as a brick run. Immediately after, building from under race pace to over. I was on no calories there for the, oh, by the way, this is an intake breathing strip. Everyone on Instagram asks, helps you nasal breathe. And that was first 70 minutes on no sugar, no calories, just SOS electrolytes. And then for the last hour and 50 minutes, just peanut butter. Trying to get used to no sugar. I want some sugar now though. There you go, Trainiacs. That is fasted exercising. Exercise caution while you are exercising. Now, I am just hours away from hopping on a plane to go to LA to shoot the Cam Wharf How to Bike Masterclass. So I gotta pack that up, I gotta pack that up, I gotta pack up things in the house. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that fun and games.